So I'll start to do the rabab, which is the most difficult task. Hopefully my connection gonna hold. Let me just probably switch off my camera just to save some bandwidth. I want to start by thanking everyone who joined us in the past 2 days. We're very, very happy really to have 4 keynote speakers, 2 workshops, 9 short talks, and a panel discussion. What motivated the symposium is to bring to the surface the issues that are neglected when discussing open science. As many of the talks discussed and very much emphasized probably in Tony's and Leslie Chan's talk, open science is co-created by diverse actors, all have their own priorities, which really need to be contextualized according to the region, demographic. But to do open science, we need resources. We need to build infrastructure. However, access to these resources not equally distributed. Academia is structurally unequal in many aspects. And although equity is really probably the most important aim when it comes to open science, we might end up compound the inequities unintentionally. So open science really need to be situated, need to be contextualized, but we hardly speak about the challenges around it. Our plan for the symposium was to bring to the surface this issue and bring it to the tables. As ECR, every day we experience really unique type of challenges toward any effort to implement these open science practices within our communities. And this is hardly discussed or written about it in open science meetings. We need to reflect on our open science practices. There is unequal contribution and participation in knowledge production. And as I mentioned, we need to plant the seeds and encourage these type of discussion, encourage that discussion in this direction from all the community. We need new action to tackling these issues. So over the past 2 days, we're very, very happy that we have very diverse participation, although some of them dropping on and off, but we had people really participating from around 40 countries, which means there's a lot of interest about these issues, especially from ECRs in countries that yet to implement any open infrastructure, any policies regarding open science. So we also, when we look at the ages, there's wide participation from all ages, especially from individuals in their early 20s, late 30s, in diverse fields, mostly life sciences, humanities, engineering. And we see really a lot of emerging themes in the discussions. One of them, language matters. This came up like many times by speakers, participants. Also, the importance of grassroots initiative and community practice in contextualizing open science. We need both top-down approach and bottom-up approach. We discussed knowledge equity, open infrastructure, and we've seen it with the board that we launched with eLife. There's a great interest in better understanding the landscape of funding. Our speakers came representing different communities and institutions in Latin America and Africa and Asia and Europe and USA and also within the Middle East. We're very, very keen to keep the conversation going and produce really a tangible outcome. If you're keen to add your input into this conversation, just add your name to the manifesto. Probably some of my colleagues gonna add the link in the Etherpad. And there are really many, many people that I would like to thank. I just want to probably mention Brina Hayes, who did lots of the heavyweight. Ulrika for her patience, Ollie for his insights, kindness, Eilish for the incredible support, and there's so many. And thank you again for all the participants and also for all the organizers. I'm just going to hand it now to the rest of the organizer in case I missed anything and they want to mention anything. And thank you so much.
I think this is a good ending. I was asked to say something, but I think this is just a perfect ending. I can just congratulate you too. And my head is spinning, I have to say, maybe yours too. For reasons that I don't understand, these online meetings are more challenging in a way than to sit in a room. I have no idea why this is, because I have a very comfortable chair, but it's maybe because it's so dense, and I think you achieved actually a tremendous feat, because everything worked. I mean, as an observer, I have to say, I also think your vision was great and you delivered. And I also hope for you that this is ongoing, that this has just started a conversation. So I think the idea of a manifesto is brilliant, and I think you should really engage and work on this, because we have these many manifestos, but they are written from all these different perspectives, and we are missing a perspective like the one that was prevalent during this discussion. Maybe to close it off, I can only add one observation and one commentary. The commentary is that several times I've heard statements like, well, we are not as far as the North or whatever in open science. I have to tell you that I by listening, also by listening to the conference, for example, the talk we heard today about Malaysia, many of those things are far ahead of where we are. And I would also mention, and I was totally impressed at another conference, there was an open science conference in Paris, where I learned that in South America, more than 70% of all publications are diamond open access. They are about to get rid of APCs, and they're just doing it. So I think we should, I mean, now I'm sitting here in Berlin, we have also a lot to learn from there. I've put the link to a very nice talk by a Brazilian researcher who is talking about those things, and I was blown away by it, I have to say. And then there's an observation or an opportunity which I want to share. I was at a review and I was being reviewed as part of the Berlin University Alliance, who also co-sponsored some of those activities here. It's an alliance of the big universities in Berlin, huge effort. And we have been evaluated by outside reviewers. And very proudly, one of our guys was presenting that we are attracting the talented people from all over the world. And one of the reviewers stood up and he said, you know what? Well, maybe you shouldn't be so proud about it, because while you are solving your problem and you're very proud about it, you create problems somewhere else. Have you ever thought about that? This is kind of you should have a global perspective on this. And the point I want to make, and he was very strong on this, and I think everyone was listening. The point this reviewer made was to say, and we hear this in our parts of the world, we hear this, and I think it's good. We hear this now from agencies that fund us. They say to us, you need to have a global perspective. The problem is that many of us don't know how to engage. How do we do it? And I think there is an opportunity here. And the opportunity may play out by you, many of you in other places of the world, trying to connect to us. I mean, and they will be so, I mean, I predict that they will be, not everyone, but there will be open doors, because they don't know how to do it. They don't have the contacts. Maybe they have academic contacts to some departments, but they don't have contacts to communities like the communities that I've seen here. So if you connect to universities or alliances of universities, and the difficult step will be to find the right persons to do this. But I promise you, you will be received with open hands, and there could be really mutual exchange in a bidirectional way, which I think could be very productive, and also to show us how can we do it. So that's just an observation, and this was actually very fresh. It happened at the beginning of this week, and I'm still under the impression of this reviewer who was actually telling us, well, don't forget this global perspective, and I think he was right. So I think you should be congratulated, and I have also put into the chat a couple of thanks from my perspective, and it's obvious the sponsors, and you have already mentioned the persons, and I can now, you can't do this yourself, so you can now thank you, the organizers, for providing us who have been listening with a very engaging and very interesting, eye-opening, perspective-opening views, which I think could stimulated discussion and exchange that should be continuing beyond these 2 days. So thank you very much. I think that's it. Bye-bye.